So there were 23 proposals that President Obama signed off on yesterday, ranging from issuing a presidential memorandum to require federal agencies to make relevant data available to the federal background check system. In other words, there needs to be more sharing of this data across different federal agencies, to address any legal barriers in the Affordable Care Act for doctors to ask whether or not, if they have patients who are dealing with mental issues, if they have young kids or whatnot, to ask whether or not there is guns in the household and whether or not there's proper safety being treated with those guns, to actually having an ATF director, which the Senate has prevented from happening for 6 years now. It's been an acting ATF director, for allowing the ATF to use computers and allowing federal agencies to track gun sales to determine whether or not if an inordinate amount of guns that are being used in crimes come from specific stores that are selling guns, and why that's the case. Maximize efforts to prevent gun violence and prosecute gun crime. That doesn't seem so terrifying to me. To allow for the Center for Disease Control to research the causes and prevention of gun violence. To direct the Attorney General to issue a report on the availability and most effective use of gun safety technologies, and challenge the private sector to develop innovative technologies. Some people have referred to the idea, if you require gun owners to own some type of liability insurance, it will incentivize the use of things like biometrics on guns. In other words, you need to use a certain fingerprint on a gun, or you need to have a certain type of gun lock that will allow only the owner of the gun to use that gun, because we have literally hundreds of thousands of stolen guns that end up obviously in the hands of criminals, almost by definition. It goes on and on. There are also legislative ideas that will require congressional approval. Hard to imagine we're going to see that, but one, I guess, hope springs eternal. Require criminal background checks for all gun sales. Reinstate and strengthen the assault weapon ban. Restore the 10-round limit on ammunition magazines. Protect police by finishing the job of getting rid of armor-piercing bullets. Give law enforcement additional tools. End the freeze on gun violence research. Make our schools safer with more school resource officers and school counselors. Help ensure that young people get the mental health treatment they need. So there's a wide-ranging number of proposals on the table. Experts, according to Brad Plumer at Washington Post, suggest that there are about 5 that really could have a demonstrable effect. Universal background checks could have a large impact on gun crime. Experts say that, as you know, about 40% of sales now are not subject to a background check. Experts say anything that can add friction to that secondary market could prove very helpful. Giving federal law enforcement more power to trace guns. Like I said, the ATF has a limited ability to share its data on where guns actually come from, and it can't keep computerized records. What's more, not all federal agencies are required to trace all guns they've recovered. Few of the proposals would do much to help with the problem of stolen guns. About 1 million guns are stolen each year. However, Congress could go further by requiring mandatory gun insurance. Again, what I mentioned there, the notion of having genuine liability as to where your gun ends up may increase the use of mechanisms that prevent non-owners from using guns. I imagine this would also be safe for kids in a house who accidentally find guns that haven't been locked up properly. Experts tend to be more skeptical about the assault weapons ban. We've seen in the past assault weapon bans are easily skirted. However, maybe there's ways of making them a little bit more rigid. Certainly in New York, they're now, I believe they banned a lot of semi-automatic weapons, future sales, and if you own one, you need to register that again as a automatic weapon. And the fifth, considered most relevant, would be the restriction on federal funding for gun research. In '96, Congress passed a law that prohibited federal funding for research that, quote, advocates or promotes gun control. Of course, if you find that there are major loopholes in the way that guns are sold or background checks, then presumably you could fall under that restriction that it would in some way advocate for gun control. This is obviously a very broad piece of legislation, and it has prevented the CDC from going forward with studying any of the causes and effects of gun violence and of our gun control regime as it stands now. So those are some of the biggest highlights.